Hi, I'm Jules, I'm your designer in your pocket, and in today's tutorial I'm showing you step by step how I help my client using Firefly and Adobe Express create a whole ream of social posts that will really help build connection. Engaging and interesting. When you can turn posts that originally looked like this into this, then you get amazing results using Firefly, and I can't wait to show you. Now, when you are designing your social media graphics and you are a small business, you don't have the budget for creating big photo shoots, especially this business is a handcrafted dog apparel brand. They make handmade leads and collars, and they would love to be able to showcase and they want to be able to talk about the brand story and emotions and feelings that are connected with buying within their brand without necessarily always having to have the products front and centre. But my client came to me because they're really struggling just putting together some graphics. They wanted to use motivational quote. They wanted to use quotes about dogs and that feeling of when you are a dog owner and when you are a dog parent. And they were using just stock photography, and you can see here that it's okay, it's fine, but it's not really going to stop the scroll. It's not really going to set anyone's heart on fire and make them want to find out more about the brand. What I have done through the magic of using some Firefly AI technology that's now within Adobe Express, so I wanted to make sure that I am using tools that my client will be able to use in the future themselves to create more of these kind of adverts, and this is what I turned it into. So this is the same quote. I have generated this image within Firefly, within Adobe Express, and this brand is based on the east coast of Scotland. The weather is rough. It is grey skies, it is raining all the time. And what I really love is if I zoom in, is that you can see the salt and the wetness that is in this dog's paws. You can feel the grit and dirt in there, and I just think this is fantastic use of AI, and it's gave us a really accurate feeling of what this brand is going for. And there is so much more emotion attached to this graphic than there is in the first one, and I want to show you how I created this. So first of all, you will see that this is the image that was generating using Firefly, and you can access it here through the button Generate AI, and you just go to Generate Image, and I popped in portrait format so that it suited the size of graphic that we're going to be doing for their socials. Now, this is the prompt that I put in to generate this image. A Springer Spaniel sitting proudly on a weathered fishing boat, scenic Scottish harbour, in the background overcast sky with cinematic lighting. Now, I specified the grey sky because it is often dark and dreary and raining in Scotland, and if it was bright sunshine it wouldn't have looked like it was on the Scottish coast. And I'm going to change the setting to photo, theme hyper realistic, and it'll be interesting just to see what it comes up with this time, because as you know, when you generate with an AI you don't always get the same results, so it'll be really interesting to see what it comes up with today. Oh my goodness, actually I still love this one as well. How good does that one look? And again, you can see that it's really got just that detail in there of, you can imagine the dog's been running about on the shoreline in and out the water, and now he's sitting on the boat drying off. And if I change it to these other images, every single one of these just looks fantastic. He's even got the sad face of the spaniel, which I love. I think actually this one, that one's quite high up. I think I'm going to stick with the first one. I absolutely love that. So that's just to show you how I generated it. And if I click through on here, I'll show you a few more prompts I did, just so we could give them a whole family of images that they could use in their graphics, and it really kind of gives them that like full month's content without much to time at all. And this time the only thing I have changed is I've changed the dog type to a white West Highland Terrier. Image has turned out really well. Again, we have the dog looks like he's been running around the beach before he's jumped on the back of the boat, and I really tried to continue this theme with the images I was asking it to generate. This one, a border collie walking along a misty coastal path in Scotland, earthy tones, windswept, moody atmosphere. The more detailed you can make the prompt, the better the results you're going to get from the Firefly AI. And you can see here that you can really visualise that the dog is getting his fur all blown about right next to the Scottish coast, and again we have this really misty grey skies. so it's really accurate. A black Labrador resting beside hiking boots on a forest trail, early morning light, and this one is just beautiful. We really have a gorgeous result from here. Even the walking boots, they look really worn and as if they've walked a lot of miles. And then I thought I'll try something a little different. Siberian Husky sitting at the top of a hill in Scotland looking out over the glen, peaceful and majestic. And this one, I absolutely love the results. It really does look like a Scottish hillside with the lochs in the background, and then look how proud the husky looks just sitting overlooking it all. And you can see that we're really gathering a lovely catalogue and bank of images that my client can use across our social media to really capture the feeling and essence of her brand. And you can see here that if I just scroll through that, I've got now, it's a really nice collection, and leading into the designs that we're going to use. What I've done here is I've wanted to turn the quote, "You speak with words, they answer with wagging tails," into feeling much more editorial and magazine-like, and I've really done it by building up all these different elements. If I zoom in, I have added quite a bit of texture and grain. This one is paper texture if I bring it up, and just then it doesn't feel like such a flat graphic. I've also done a little bit of layering so that the paws are slightly coming in front of the text, and this is just a really nice tiny detail to add to your design so that it looks much more 3D. There's layering, there's depth. I've got the logo just peeking out behind the ear, and I like to add a little bit of shadow as well, and this all helps to just add that complete finished look and make it look a little bit different from this page here, which is simply just a quote and an image. You want to make your post look much more interesting and for people to really stop and read what that would be. This one here, I've done the same thing. I have added the same layering techniques now, so the husky's head and ears are just popping up in front of the fonts. Here I have got the logo, but we've wanted it to be quite subtle and not overpowering in design, so we have added a little transparency to it. And what I'm going to show you is some of the other ones here, and you can see there is a family look to them. They are consistent in their look and feel, even though each one is slightly different. This one here with the walks that turn into wanderings. I'm not showing any of the product here, but you're getting a real sense of what this brand is about and who they are. Okay, I'm going to show you how I created this design and just walk my way through it with you. Okay, we start with just the picture that we generated within the Firefly generator, and I'm going to duplicate this image and remove the background, and this is just going to leave the outline of the dog, and this is so we can start to get that layering effect with the text. I'm going to start typing my text, and I'll need to do this over a few different text boxes, so I'm just going to get all the text roughly in place just now. Change the colour, I'm just going to go over to click this box in the editor panel and change it to white. I also need to change the font, so I'll do that just now, and I'm changing it to Chandler 42, which is this nice typewriter style effect. And then I'm going to duplicate this one because I have some more text in this font. Okay, so I know I'm going to do that justice later, but I just want to get everything on the page that we're working with. I am going to add in the logo, so I'm going to go to my brand kit on the Somadra kit, which is my client's kit, and go into the logo files, and I'm going to select this dark green logo version, just reduce that down slightly, create this cut out text effect, and to do that we need to go to effects, and we go down to shape, and we're going to click on this one with the solid background, and you can see it's now changed the background to yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap that back to black, and then if we click on this one, this is the text fill. At the moment I'm going to make it white just so that we can see the text, but what's going to give us this cut out text effect is by clicking this button here, and as you can see now the text has disappeared and it's completely see-through and shows the image underneath, which is exactly what we want. I'm just going to increase the shape width a little bit as well, but we can still edit this text. We can go in here, select the text, go to the edit panel, and we can still increase the size of the text. Now at the moment that text is left aligned, so I'm going to change that to align center, but you'll notice there is still this bit of a gap up the top. So to get rid of that gap, what I'm going to do is go to Elements, select Shapes, and just select a rectangle. And again, I can change the size of this so that it completely covers just this top part here. And now we've got that nice solid box, but it's sitting in front of the dog, and this is why it's important that we created a cut out version of the dog. So now we can move this the words, and by moving it above the words we now have the dog's head poking in front of the text, and just move that text layer back up so that we still see that too. I'm going to have this without the capital so that I can bring this text down and get it roughly the size I want. I can always tweak this later on, but I'm quite happy with where that is just now. I'm going to move the logo, and again I don't want the logo to be in front of the dog, so I'm going to move this so that it sits underneath the ears of the dog but it's still sitting above the word. So there we can see we're starting to build up this nice layered effect, and if I zoom in, it looks quite sweet. And this is how we start to get a bit of depth to our design with the word tails, the very last part of the quote. I want it to look like the text is just sitting behind the pause. So again, if I zoom in here, I'm going to change this text to white. Like so, and I just like how it's slightly sitting on top of the letter T, and just to kind of keep with that layering effect. Then we will bring this text down. I'm going to arrange the text to the right this time. I'm going to reduce the line spacing so it's closer together. Now I have made this text white, which is the best colour to make it against the background. However, because we're going across this light patch here and in the darker tones, we still can't quite read it. So to make this a bit easier to read, what we're going to do is go to Effects, and we're going to go to Shadows, and we can start to add a little drop shadow. That one's quite subtle, I like that one, just to help the text stand out a little bit clearer. Now we've got our text in place, but you'll notice what's missing is it still looks quite flat, and I love to add a bit of graininess and a bit of texture. It just makes it look a wee bit worn, and it kind of fits with the aesthetic of how the east coast of Scotland, it's rough, it's ready, it's a bit grey, a bit dirty, so I want it to be a little bit polished and perfect. What I love to do is to add texture and graininess to an image, and we do that by going to our elements, and up in the search bar I'm going to type parchment paper here, and I'm just going to click view all and design assets, and you can see already there is a lot of different choices we can make. Some of them are really quite subtle. If I just click on this one and I zoom in, you can see this has just got a little bit of a ripped texture around the edges. I want something that has texture across the whole paper. So if I add this one and I zoom in, you can see that this one looks like parchment paper, watercolour paper. It's got that really lovely grain to it. If I zoom out, I'm going to enlarge it up so it fills the whole page. And it's important this time that it sits right at the top because we want it to go over all of the layers. But obviously we've now just filled everything in and you can't see the background. So this time we're going to go to opacity, and we are going to select multiply. Already it is like taking it away, you can't actually see it. However, if we zoom in and we go to the parts that are white in the page, which is the text, you can really see the lovely texture just showing through on the light parts of the design, which is lovely. You can also see it on top of the logo. So now instead of it being a flat colour, it now looks like it's got this lovely texture and it feels a bit more real. And then lastly, what I'm going to do is also add a graininess to it. So I'm going to just type in grainy texture. You can literally type in what you think comes in your head. There'll be an image for everything in here. If I just scroll down, you can see there is lots and lots and lots of different examples you can experiment with and really see what different effects you get in here, and it's one of my favourite things to do. I'm going to select this one. Just change the angle of it. It's adding a noise, a graininess to the image, but it's too severe, it's too much. So this time I'm going to go into opacity, and I'm going to just take it down to about 30%, because I don't want it to overpower the actual image. I still want that to be clear. You can just see there is a very subtle graininess to the design as well. And that is how we add all this different layering, the shadows and effects, and the texture design. So we've went from just an image to making this much more editorial in its look and feel. Now once we have this style set in place, you can really easily add this to your other designs with the images that we have generated with AI. If I scroll down, we can see we've taken that one of the husky, and again we have really added those lovely layering techniques. So we've got the ears just popping out in front of the word world. Use the same technique with the quote. We have turned it into much more stylized editorial style design, and again we have added the kind of roughness to this image as well. I've used the screen overlays. If I change that back to normal, you can see it's really too strong, and you can really change the subtlety of the element by using that technique. I'll just show you some of the other ones. So this one we've got you don't need a destination, and again we've used a slightly different logo style, but again it's just sticking out behind the dog's head. So you can see I'm using similar techniques for each one, and that really builds up recognition with the style of the social content and marketing that we're pitching for this client. And this is all done without using any branded models, headshots, things like that. It can be done really low budget but still give a really lovely professional finishes. Again here's another one. We've got the logo sitting in front, and we still have that lovely texture across the logos and the text. And then this one here, we've got the boat, and this time we've got the boat sitting in front of the word here too, and this time the dog's looking away from it, so it's looking out to sea, and it really builds that lovely across all of these walks that turn into wanderings wherever the path leads. And then when we go into the more product-led images, again we are still linking to that lovely outdoor feel, Scottish coastal scenery, to really get across the brand look and feel in all of their social graphics. If you enjoyed this tutorial, then please do follow and watch out for more videos coming soon.